I live in one of the most beautiful places on earth, and this is what I get to walk in just about every day. It's about 50 degrees today. And behind me now is the Continental Divide. Just gorgeous. Welcome to my part of the world. The Continental Divide. All my stitching kindred spirits out there in FlossTube land. My name is Shanda. Welcome back to my channel. I live in Idaho along the Continental Divide in a very remote area. I think I've mentioned on my FlossTubes before that I live almost 150 miles from the nearest Walmart. It's just a long ways to me. And I like it. I would rather live here than anywhere. This is the community where I grew up, where I graduated from high school. I did go away to college, and I raised children down in Boise. But I am back home for a while and loving every minute of it. You can find me here on YouTube, and I do have a Pinterest board page, whatever. You can find me there under Shanda Lindsay, Lindsay. And I also just got an Instagram account, but I'm learning Instagram. So please be patient with me on there as I learn the ropes. I do not have Facebook, do not have Twitter, do not have TikTok, any of those other ones. I just have the three: YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram now. So, my shirt today, I know I'm going to have comments, so I am going to explain it. It's an Illinois license plate, and it stands for Treasure Life, TRSRLIF. And just with all the things that are happening and going on, and we're self-isolating, we need to treasure life. This was a license plate that belonged to my uncle when he was alive. Wonderful man. Passed away several years ago from cancer, and the family decided to put his license plates on t-shirts, sweatshirts. So I have my Treasure Life shirt on today, and I'm treasuring life. I am self-isolating. I'm what's the word? Social, I'll think of it in a little bit. Social distancing maybe is the new phrase, buzzword. I did make some notes, so I'll be using them regularly because I have several things here that I want to touch on. Again, thank you to the commenters I have. Wow, what a community. I think I have the most generous, giving, caring commenters out there, and followers, you viewers. A lot of you have commented on the scenery, my introduction. I change that introduction periodically with the changing of the seasons, but I do live in a very beautiful part of the state. I'm looking out my studio window here, and I have a full view of the mountains along the Continental Divide. We do still have some snow, as you saw earlier, but It is beautiful, and I'm so blessed to live where I live. Area of the world is a introvert's dream. I tend to be on the introvert side. It might not appear that way doing YouTube videos, but I like smaller groups. I like one-on-one relationships. I'm just not a big social butterfly. So I live in a introvert's dream area. Lots of stitching time here, and today I am swamped with quilts. It's after Christmas, and it usually is quiet for January, but I also have a background in accounting, and this year I am not doing tax work. I'm doing other things, but I do have a background in accounting. I've been in the accounting profession for about 35 years, but it's probably a good thing because I am swamped with quilts. I professionally long arm. My long arm machine is right here in my studio. I've been doing that since 2004, and I love it. But if you followed me last year, we did 182 blocks from a 4x5 quilt block anthology book. And this year I'm going to concentrate more on, for myself, on cross stitch. So it gives me time to do my customer quilts and still enjoy the process and the quilting time. But for me personally, I'm going to be doing more cross stitching, maybe punch needle, piecing my own quilts where normally mine never get on the machine because I always do customers first, and that's okay. My heart is so full. I received the best stitchy kindness in the whole wide world that any floss tuber could imagine. My shout out today and huge heartfelt thank you goes to Christy from Crosshatch Quilts. I mentioned last video that I had a unicorn chart, and that unicorn chart was Cherry Hill Farm by Stacy Nash. Within several hours, Christy reached out to me and said, I just finished that this morning and I would like to pass my chart on to you. And I was just dumbfounded, really. Several days later, in the mail, here comes my unicorn chart. This is a picture of the sampler. Again, it's Cherry Hill Farm by Stacy Nash. And as far as I could tell, it was released in 2015, but it was only a Nashville market release. Yeah, let's see if I can show you this picture. This has just been something since I've seen it, I've wanted to stitch it, and I didn't go to market or anything, and I could not get my hands on it. Christy's is beautiful. It's on Instagram. It's absolutely gorgeous. But she sent me not only did she send me the chart, I can't show you the chart. Yeah, Cherry Hollow Farm sampler by Stacy Nash. Not only did Christy send me this chart, my unicorn chart that I still can't fathom. She sent me this beautiful, gorgeous card, and I'm going to keep this card in the project bag with my project as I'm stitching it. She wrote me this beautiful note on the back, and there is something here that says, tell me ye knowing and discerning few, where I may find a friend both firm and true. And Christy is a rare individual. I've not met her in person. Maybe I will. We only live one state away from each other. But yeah, Christy from Crosshatch Quilts, you've definitely paid it forward. And what an awesome thing you've done for me. Cherry Hill Farm by Stacy Nash. Thank you very much. You guys are all such enablers. When I sit down to do my own stitching time, I sit down with my stitching journal. This is just a traveler's notebook with some paper and my pencil in it, because I'm constantly writing down stuff I'm seeing through your whips, through your hauls, through now market. We just finished market. I'm constantly oh, I can't wait to get these braces off. I am constantly seeing things that I want to jot down, that I like to acquire, that I would like to stitch. And thanks to you guys, there are 87 items on my wish list at 123 Stitch. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to buy them all from 123 Stitch. I like to spread the wealth, but because I live in a remote area, if I do need anything, I order it from 123 Stitch. I do not have a local needlework shop here. I'm far away from anything. But I'll either order it off of 123 Stitch, or I keep it in my phone on their wish list. So if I go to another needlework shop, I have it right handy. But yes, thanks to you and writing all these things down in my stitching journal, I have 87 items in my not in my cart, but on my wish list at 123 Stitch. Quite the extensive list. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Last video, I said I had a giveaway, and I do, and I have drawn. Before I started the video, I did draw a name. This is a project bag from that I made. I made it. The fabric is from Blackbird Designs. Beautiful cross stitch looking fabric, sampler looking fabric. And the person this is going to, I will leave my email below. Please email me. But the person this is going to is Marlene from Stitching by the Lake. I want to say, please email me. This is yours. It was for getting to my 750th subscriber. And then a couple videos ago, I mentioned at the 1000th subscriber, I would have a small quilted table runner or table topper of some sort to give away. And I do have that to show because you guys bumped me over the 1000 subscriber list here in Nothing Flat between these two videos. So this is going to Marlene Stitching by the Lake. Please email me and I'll get your information so I can send that to you. And then here towards the end, I'll show you the quilted item that I'm going to be drawing for the next time because you guys are incredible. This little guy I finished. He is sitting on an oil can. Fun little punch needle. This is from Brenda Gervais, Home Tweet Home. And I've had this for quite some time. And he's got some pins. Let me put this down. He's got some pins right here. Let me hold him against my shirt, my hand. There we go. But he's done. And I've had him for quite some time. I don't know why I just didn't do him. But I punched him now and he's all done. And the other finish I had was I had a checkbook. I'm falling off my long arm chair here. I had a checkbook cover that was just said wool, and I turned that one into a pin keep. This is a pattern from Pineberry Lane, and I just filled this one with rice. I'm going to be going to Boise in a couple of weeks, and I will get some crushed walnut shell there, but I just had rice for right now. But wool. So that one is just kind of finished. I probably just put this in a bowl as a bowl filler. Here's my back. Kind of a little bit of both, but there's my finish on that one. Okay, and the next pretty finished object. I mentioned in my last video that I'm going to be teaching, or actually it's a lecture that I'm going to be giving at our local, at a quilting retreat, but it's held here locally this weekend. And last year I taught a block. It's a house. Here's my finished quilt, part of my finished quilt top. These houses are made from charm packs. This particular quilt measured 33 wide by 45 long. So you can see all that. Can't fit it on the whole camera, but it made 42 houses. 2 charm packs make 42 houses. And where I learned this from, her name is called the Gourmet Quilter, and I think it's how to make houses out of charm packs. On the last video, somebody asked that question, and I put that link in that video, in that comment response. But anyway, this is done now. The only thing that needs to be done, that's left to be done on this, is I have about a 3-inch border all the way around, and it's a shirting fabric. So, but this one is done. I can't quite decide if I'm going to have my mother hand quilt this one or if I'm going to put it on my long arm and quilt it. I don't know yet. I had a question from one of my viewers on these 2 cross stitch projects that I did clear back in 1990. These are done on 32 count linen. but they were done with DMC. They were not done with overdyed flosses. This one, I'll talk about this one first. This one, they're both the Cricut collection patterns. This one was called number 29, and then it just said shadows. I looked this one up, and this one is still available. This chart is still available on 123 Stitch. I saw it the other day. Again, it was the Cricut collection shadows, but then up at the top of the pattern, it said number 29. I have since gotten rid of this chart. I no longer have either one of these charts, but this was a deer stitch because my aunt was stitching along with me back in 1990, and we had our own stitch along. We had our own Sal. This one is also the Cricut collection, and it's called The Inheritance. And since I am a stitcher and a quilter, I had to do both of them, and they were both done in 1990 with my initials down there at the bottom. So there's that little piece of information that I thought might be helpful based on somebody's comment. And this one I showed, same video. This one was from Spring Green, Wisconsin, the Country Sampler. I first discovered them clear back in 2008, and I went there one Christmas with my family when I was back there visiting. This one is from Birds of a Feather, and it is still available. I saw it on 123 Stitch, and because I said I thought it was discontinued and it's or out of print, but it's not. I did see it on 123 Stitch, and it's simply called the Alphabet Sampler from Birds of a Feather. It was a kit from Country Sampler. I didn't buy it as such. I just bought the chart. But then about 6 or 8 months later, this chart and sampler was highlighted in Country Living down in the small corner of a page of their magazine. I couldn't tell you which one. But I stitched this in 2009. And like I said on that last video, this one was the first thing I ever stitched with overdyed threads. And this is done on a 32 count, I don't know, overdyed fabric. I would have bought it that way. I didn't dye this one. But anyway, that is that. Okay, my whips. You guys are going to get 16 this one, so this is the last time I'm showing it. Special delivery. It's from Blackbird Designs. And it's a birth sampler for a little girl, and I have 2 granddaughters. So I just cut, I'll show you both of them. This is what it's supposed to look like done, and this green looks horrid, but I just used some painter's tape that I use when I'm doing my quilting to mark off my pantographs to cover up my granddaughter Emma's name, full name, and her birthday. I didn't think you guys needed to see that, but there's that. And then Oakley, my other granddaughter, this is the one I'm currently working on, and you can kind of see, let me use my design boards that I learned about and used last year. This is Oakley's, and this will be Emma's. And like I said, after this, unless they're framed, I'm not showing these to you. This one's Oakley's. It's just done on white Ada. She's a white and pink, very frilly little girl, and I'm about ready to run out of thread on this one, so I have to get more. And then this one is Emma's. Emma's was done on ecru. Oakley's was done on white. I don't stitch much on Ada anymore, but these were already kind of in the works per se, and this was in my stash. So the girls are getting, both their birth samplers are on Ada cloth. Ada, it's 18. It's not 14. And I'm going to show this one last time. Just Keep Stitching. I was the Stitch Harmony commenter of the week with Steph and Pam, and they brought it to my attention, and I was thinking this when I stitched it, but I don't know why I didn't go ahead and do it. They're going to put an apostrophe in the word it's from the Baby It's Cold. On my Baby It's Cold Outside, I'm going to put an apostrophe right down there because it is a contraction. It is, baby, it is cold outside. And I will be finishing that. And then this is marching straight to the framers when I go down to Boise. All done. I'm all done with these. More things. Acquisitions. Did get some Weeks Dye Works threads. Just, I happened to be there and didn't have these colors. So I bought these colors. And I bought some fabric. I'll It is Moda Bunny Hill Designs. And she has the cutest sayings in her salvages. This one says, to plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. And Audrey Hepburn, it's a quote from Audrey Hepburn. But this is some birds. Is that up? Oh, let's turn it right side up. And I got some bees, the birds and the bees. I got some red, just some red floral. But the best, and I'm going to make a project bag out of these two, is look at this Independence Day fabric, but it's got bicycles on it. Love this. This is going to go straight into a project bag. And this one is the only one that is from, part of it's cut off. It just says 3 Wishes fabric for Beth Albert. But I just loved this. I thought these two went together. So that's going to go into a project bag for a 4th of July start that I'm going to do. My favorite one, 2 I haven't gotten yet. I'm still, Market, yes, Market happened. I ordered 2 things right off the bat. Saltbox quilt sampler from Brenda Gervais, because it has all my favorite elements. The alphabet, saltbox houses, and quilting motifs. Didn't have any sheep, but you know, I can let that one go for that cute pattern. And I ordered the Blackbird Book Sewing Club, and that's waiting for me down at the Quilt Crossing in Boise. When I go down, I'll pick that up. But the rest of mine, I do have one Market here, but the rest of my Market coveted items, I'm going to be slowly getting over the next 3 or 4 months, spreading out the wealth, the budget across 2 or 3 months, because there's so many that I want to stitch. But new acquisitions, I got All Joys for Thine. And I have a question I'm going to throw out there. If anybody would love to tell me what these 2 bugs are, kind of in the middle. Let me see if I can get that really close. See those flying bugs to the right and the left of that flower, that center flower? What do you think those bugs are? I can't quite decide if they're locusts or they don't look like bees. They're not the right color. I'm just not sure what those bugs are. So if they are something that's in your neck of the woods, could you please tell me what those bugs are? I love this sampler. This is going to be one of my Stitch Mania starts, but I kind of want to know what those bugs are called. They just didn't look familiar to me. The Scarlet House on Stoneware Street, Stitch Mania start. Love that. This one says it came out in 2016. 2015, you guys all have this one, American Sampler. But because I order mine online, sometimes I can't see the full picture. I did not realize that there's a bunting across that fence at the very bottom. I love buntings. Just love that one. This is a Stitch Mania start. And the last Stitch Mania start that I bought, Brenda Gervais, With Thy Needle and Thread, Liberty for All. Love that little bird. Love the flag. This one might go in that bicycle project bag that I'm going to make. Love it. Many of us love Blackbird design, patterns, charts, fabric, all of it. They are the Audrey Hepburn of the cross stitch world, I think. They are so classic. Their stuff stays in fashion for many, 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 many years. One of the very first books I have was from 2002, and it's called Higgedone Camp, 1924, and obviously out of print. But I have a couple here that I want to share, just 2 things with you. This one is called Country Inn, and this one was also just highlighted. Brenda did it on Brenda and the Serial Starter. But I've been looking at my old Blackbird books, trying to pick out things I want to do for Stitch Mania. But look at this sampler. Just love it. Let's see if I can get the glare off of it. I just love it. It's called Little Red Hen, and I don't want to show the chart. It's on the other page. but their photography is just beautiful for their books. Their books are they're just well worth every penny you pay for them. I'm running out of room. You really do make a lot of mess here when you're doing these videos. The other one is called Simply Vintage. And I just love this picture of the strawberry pin keeps. Love it. Love it, love it. One of my other designers, there's two other here that I love, but I haven't seen much from her lately, and she was more into the wool applique side of things, although she did do a few cross stitches, and that's what I'm going to highlight here. Her name is Maggie Bonanami, and she lives in Missouri, and she did do a collaboration with Blackbird Designs that I will show you for my Stitch Mania Start when I do my Stitch Mania Start video. But this book is from her Thistledown Moon, Maggie Bonanami, and I'm going to be doing this. It's called Anna of Bellingham 1912 Sampler. I can't show you much on the other page. Loved that. Her books are so almost folk artish. Here she is. She's the one. It'd be on the left. And she was showing this butcher's apron. This is Maggie right here. And I have met her in person, and she's a delight. Her main thing is wool and wool rug hooking. The last one is A Day at Sunnybrook, and it says Primitive Projects to Recall Home Life in the 1800s by Maggie Bonanami. She's a delightful person. And the other cross stitch here is called Elizabeth's Sampler. And I think the thing that drew me to this is she's also got wool applique across the bottom. Let's take this sticky off. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, really quick in closing. Before I show this, well, let me do the giveaway. And again, I don't have a question. I'm not too much right now. I don't need to ask a question. You can just answer write me anything you want. That you love me, that you hate me, you never want to see me do a FlossTube again. I don't know. But it's more on the Civil War side, and I haven't put the binding on it yet. But it's just some squares. There's a quilt kind of down here on the very end that these were left over from. It's a quilt I taught at the Quilt Crossing, a quilt piecing pattern technique, maybe. But I haven't put the binding on this, but these were left over from that quilt. They're more on the browns side. I don't know if you can see them. Definitely Civil War. And I just really simply quilted it. It's not anything spectacular. But one of my favorite things about this is I found some fabric for the back that I think someday will be history in the making. This is backing of a bunch of different quilting designers. And right here is Blackbird Designs, their logo. You've got Deb Strain, the word Moda, Three Sisters, Holly and Taylor, Kansas Troubles, very popular quilt fabric designer, Kathy Schmitz, Brannigan Thompson, Lori Gardner, Sandy Gervais, Indigo Junction is on here. Hold it up close. So anyway, if you would like to win this quilt, I measured it, it's 24 by 24. Probably a little bit bigger than that now with the little tiny 2-inch border. So probably we'll say 28 by 28, 2 inches on each side. Just leave me a comment and I will draw this one next time I do a video, which will probably be a week or two. I'm tending to go about every 10 days, 2 weeks-ish. So leave me a comment and I'll draw one. Well, I'll let the random comment picker draw it, but there's that. Last time too, I had a broken needle gauge. I am a knitter. He's got his bird back up on top of him. Let me see, could I put him against my shirt? He's got his bird back on him anyway. But this is a needle gauge, a knitting needle gauge from Romantic Fripperies, and I did look them up on Etsy. They've changed their name to Fripperies, 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 capital M, capital P, Fripperies MP on Etsy. I think I want one of everything they have in their shop. Their wood burning is amazing. But I'm going to show you the back of this because I had to fix it with 2 pennies and a bunch of epoxy. But I don't think he'll break anymore. So there he is. I just love that bird. Just love that bird. Okay, and then in closing, last thing. I was so fascinated when I started stitching back in the, I don't know, mid-80s, 90s. We used those plastic bobbins for our DMC. And there's been several floss tubers I've watched that have commented either they iron their DMC when they take it off, those bobbins, because you know you've got these kinks, or they've been slowly converting to floss away bags. I kind of liked the idea because I'm a punch needler and I use either Valdani or DMC to do my punch needle. I liked the idea of putting them on floss bobbins, thread drops, I guess they're called, so that they're not quite so all wrinkled up. And I commented last time in my last video that I recently had a birthday and I like making these out of my birthday cards. And they are really simple. I'm sure most of you have made some. You take an oval cutter and you punch an oval out of your cardstock. Try to pick something that's got a light back, but yet a pretty front. Something, because you're gonna have to write on this. I write DMC and then the number. This one is, it's a cardstock. Take an oval, punch this out of your paper. Let me see if I can come a little bit closer. Then you're gonna take a circle that's, I don't know, about the width of your fingernail. You're gonna take a circle, you poke a hole, and then you take a paper punch, you poke a hole on the other end, and you have a floss drop. I do this with my birthday cards. Christmas cards might be kind of fun for Christmas projects. I have an Amish friend here in the community and where I live. I'm falling off my chair. And she gave me the most beautiful birthday card. It was one from Leaning Tree, but she had signed the inside, and she does beautiful, like hand-drawn, what will I call them? Just little ditties around the card, little doodles. She does hand-drawn doodles around the card. And then she signed her name, Love Anna. And I purposefully punched that one so that I would have most of that message, and her Love Anna. So try it. You might like it. It's a great way to give a little gift to somebody. And it's definitely a great way to remember those birthday cards that come to you in the mail. So in closing, stay safe, be healthy, self-isolate if you want, distance yourself socially from large crowds if you desire. I think it's a time to turn inward, to self-reflect. I am having the dickens of a time not wanting to start my Stitch Mania. I'm practicing self-restraint to the hilt here because yeah, there's a lot that I want to start, and there's a lot of patterns that I pulled from my stash that are, I think I counted almost a third of my Stitch Mania projects are out of print. So I'm going to be working on putting all those bags and those kits and kitting a lot of those things up, and then I'll do another video with my Mania start projects on it. But for right now, stay safe, stay healthy, and just turn inward, read, learn something new, do a lot of stitching, and enjoy your alone time.